Ayo and Valentine, and it's time for Business Express 981 with
Hey,
Rotus.
hello, Monday morning, Money Monday. Yes, 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 we're
Money,
here
Monday, I like
again.
that.
How you doing, Ayo?
I'm very well. How are you?
Excellent. I'm fine. We're,
Good.
we're fresh. We're ready.
We're
Let's do it.
ready.
Let's do it.
All right, so Rotus isn't alone. He's here with Olamide from ARM. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Ayo. Hello, Lagos. Good morning.
All right. So if you'd like to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can send your WhatsApp message to 0809 0981. That's 0809 0981. We're streaming live on YouTube. Search for Smooth 98.1 Lagos and subscribe to our page. Send your comments through that platform as well. On Twitter, we're at Smooth91FM. Use the hashtag Business Express 981. You can also follow Rotus as well. He's at Rotan Quotes. That's ROTANKWOT. If you follow us, you see his handle.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right.
Thank you so much. So, well. The stock market was positive on Friday. Olamide, what happened? So, 0.2% though, very marginal gain. 27,919 points is where the market closed on Friday. Market cap is at 13.6 trillion naira. Our top gainer was Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC, which has been stuck at 99 kobo since like March, but gained about 9 kobo on Friday. Mortgages. Should we talk about mortgages? No? Okay, let's not talk about mortgages. I want to get a mortgage. Our top loser, I think it was McNichols. They were down by about 10% on Friday. Stock market. Is there anything we can talk about in the stock market? Anything?
Well,
What's
I
happening?
mean, it's been all bearish for a while now,
Yeah.
and I think if at all, if there's anything anyone is trying to get is how low it will get to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing is, if you're willing to play long, if you're willing to have a long term play, say a year, slightly over a year, it's actually a good it's a good time to buy because the prices are actually really low at the moment.
Mm.
How low it will get is just a
That's
question,
the
but you can
crystal
as
ball.
well just start to buy, average your cost, and that's really stock market where then you wait out for the gains.
Mm.
But if you know you're not willing to get bitten at all, you just want to make money, you can as well just switch to the fixed income market, and yields are not so high, but I
Mm.
think you would rather still have something rather than see your money
Losing all your money.
go red. That's
Anyway,
basically it.
no
But
risk, no reward. That's what I tell people. So be brave, but do consult a broker like an ARM before making any stock market decisions. All right, let's go into the topic for today, which I want to find out from our listeners. Where do people think the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, excuse me, which is going to take place today and tomorrow? Yes, Olamide. Yeah. What do we think? What's going to happen? So if you're for our listeners out there, what do you think? Are they going to cut the rate? Olamide, where are we at? 13.5%.
yeah, so
That's the monetary
13.5.
policy rate. Yeah. So do they cut the rates? Do they hold it? Or do they increase the rate? That'll be funny if they increase it. But anyway, Olamide, the consensus has been what? That they will hold. What does ARM think? What do you guys think?
Well, from our end, we think they would actually cut the rate. We're
Aha.
looking at the 50 to 100% bips cut, and that's majorly. So if you look at it from starting from the global environment,
Yeah.
what you find is a lot of the guys, majorly US, has actually switched from its aggressive stance at the beginning of the year, and it's looking more dovish at the moment. I think they expected, so there's supposed to be a meeting later this month, and the expectation is for the country to actually see a rate cut, and that's basically due to the trade wars we've actually seen amongst the different countries,
Mm.
and you've actually seen some of these other countries follow suit. So the likes of ECB, had to come out to say, okay, they're not thinking of raising rates again.
Okay.
Also, they had to introduce certain programs as this TLTRO. They actually increased. They reintroduced it. It's just a program whereby they have funds aimed at certain sectors, and it's just to encourage the bank to lend to see how the economy can grow.
Okay.
Same applies to UK, where you see Brexit concerns. I mean, right now it's looking like Boris Johnson might be the winner of the
Oh my
election.
God.
And if
Oh
that
goodness
happens,
gracious. Boris Johnson. All right, keep going.
It's looking like it's going to be a tough one for the UK. Is bent on, regardless of whatever the outcome is, they would would have to leave on October 31st. So I mean that's all. It all points to they'll probably be they'll remain bearish as far as, or dovish as far as that side is concerned. And then if you come down to this side, you see certain countries have even started to take steps. The likes of Indonesia, I think Australia, New Zealand, they've actually started to cut rates. And also, I mean, the general environment just speaks to a rate cut as far as the global space is concerned. And if you come down to Nigeria, our own side, you find that Q1 growth wasn't as strong as what we had in Q4.
Yeah.
And right now, inflation, which has been a major concern for the MPC in times past, we've seen that it's actually moderated. I think last month it fell by about 18 beeps, which was pretty significant. I mean, if you try to look at the factors and all of that, though it was very sharp, but in terms of what you think can drive food prices or what can drive inflation up again, I think it's really, really little. And so I think inflationary pressures or inflationary concerns are actually really, tamed at this point in time. And as far as currency is concerned, the tone from Emefiele is willing to do anything to, leave it at where it is at the moment. Reserves are still they're still high. Yes, we have quite a number of foreign investors who still have money, in the country. But regardless, I think at the rates we are going, if at all we really have to defend, probably maybe slight depreciation, nothing big. And also, if you try to look at the way events have turned out from the global and then the domestic environment, you can easily just say that all of these things would literally point to a rate cut. But also, it's Nigeria where
the Nigerian factor.
There are things where you feel like this is what should happen, and then you start to see another thing. And I mean, looking at what they've done with banks recently, everything just tells you that you should start to take the bold step for a rate cut. But hey,
all right. So ARM has Olamide has stuck her claim. ARM has stuck their claim on a rate cut. A number of other people have, but I think majority of the surveys that we've seen, I think Business Day did a survey. I think the slight majority said they would hold rate. So it's mostly some saying they'll hold or they'll cut. I think they'll cut as well, but we'll see tomorrow, won't we?
Tomorrow.
We'll see.
I
Thank
have
you for
a few
that,
questions for you.
Yes.
So Benga Komu starts with this. There's a discussion on Twitter on how Egypt attracted more FDIs than Nigeria. And he's asking, some ascribed it to the fact that they floated currency, but he wants to get your opinion. Some are saying it's because they're allies of the US, sorry. So let us know what you think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everybody here knows that I am pro IMF, which is not something that's very popular in Nigeria. But the fact is that Egypt had a recession after the Arab Spring. IMF came and said, okay, they needed money because tourism for them is like oil for us. And so I think it was a $12 billion relief that the IMF gave to Egypt. But they told them, before you take this $12 billion from us, you must float your currency, you must remove subsidies, you must take the hard steps. And they did that. Inflation was like 30% initially, but now after 3 years, it's dropped to under 10%. So that's part of the reason why. But I think some of that, the reserves and, the 12 billion they got is part of the reason why their reserves propped up. But they made the hard choices. Olamide, what do you think as far as Egypt?
I mean, yes, they made the hard choice and they followed through with what IMF has said they should do. It worked for them, which is pretty cool. But I mean, we all have our different opinions. But what I think, IMF, did Egypt well. But I think whatever steps this Egypt had to take just because IMF gave them certain cash, I think it's something we can do with or without IMF's money. We're already at over 40 billion. I think our estimate, if the foreign guys had to take out their money, will be at about 30 billion dollars in reserves. And all we need to do is, so all IMF has made them do is to do what should be done. You don't need to be pampered to do what needs to be done.
Right.
Everybody knows that if you deregulate the oil sector, you will get more people to come in. It's standard. You know that there are steps you need to take. If your power sector is fine, if you allow demand and supply play in certain sectors of your economy, things will definitely start to fall in place, which is what happened to them. If your oil and gas is deregulated and demand and supply plays, you don't need to do subsidy.
Right.
And that's what they one of the things they did, or one of the conditions, was for them to take out subsidy or start to reduce the subsidies they give to citizens. And also, if things are in place, you'll be able to literally achieve this stuff. But the thing is, are we ready to take that bold step? And it's just a play of you're trying as much as possible, or the government is trying as much as possible to manage the situation. The thing is, are they managing it the right way or the wrong way? But I think with or without IMF, we can actually achieve what Egypt is achieving.
All right, thank you very much. Danny from Ikwaja has this one. He says, I've been meaning to ask, is there a way for us here to buy US bonds or any other form of treasury bills, not just in America, but other countries abroad?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I've mentioned Trove in the past. Funny enough, I even attended they had a little a meetup over the weekend. So shout out to Trove, but they are focused on stocks, on buying US equities. So as far as bonds and T-bills and so on, you still have to go the regular way. You have to open a domiciliary account, US account overseas with a broker there, put dollars in the account, and then now instruct them to buy the bonds and other stuff for you. But I mean, we'll see. I'm hearing stuff that other companies are working on allowing folks to do that yet, but we don't have it quite yet.
All right, so Olufemi, I think Olufemi has a suggestion. He's giving a link. Maybe you check it out, Rotus.
Okay.
Merit, you can then
all right, I'll take a look at it. Thank you for that. I'll take a look.
All right, then Rainmaker. Okay, not Rainmaker actually. Okay, I guess we're good.
Yeah. Well, okay. What's next? Are we touching on the central bank? Yeah, and what? Oh yeah, the agriculture. Yes. So I think the US, the news coming out is that I think Nairametrics broke this news that the US is working with Nigeria on trying to boost agricultural output. They are providing some funds. I think 11 states have bought in. Yeah. So it's the same stuff we always hear, Sha. They want to boost agriculture here, want to help us with output. They're giving us money. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if there's any sector that has received a bit of support, aside from oil in last few years, it's still agric. Even if to an extent I think more can be done. You've had different things actually affect that space. The fact that you've not been able to get your farming to something more something away from the traditional means of farming, the part where you need to make sure there's adequate storage for excess crops that are being produced, the part where you need to make sure that the farmers have proper materials to actually get to where they need to be. And then there's the conflict, which has actually affected a lot of things, that brought up the uproar that started recently about the Ruger settlement and all of that. So there's actually a lot. Getting funds here is pretty important, but we still come back to that part where you need to fix some structural stuffs before the funds come in, because before all you've done is you've just let's say where you say you put water inside a basket, so you need to fix. Once you fix the baskets, whatever water you put into it, you'll be good. So it's not a bad thing, but we also the government needs to realize that, fix the structural part of things. I mean, you might not be able to go extreme in all of the things you need to fix, but let's start to take the steps of things that are really, really, really there. There are people that don't necessarily need the funds. All they need is, if they had the right infrastructure, they have the money to actually grow, do the agriculture business and make it grow. But because things are not in place, they're unable to go into that. So once that is sorted, I mean, it even reduces the burden on the government.
Right.
Once the conflict situation is also sorted, I mean, it reduces the burden on you, and then people can start to take bold steps,
All right.
We have time for one question. Or do you want to take a story?
Yeah, go for a question.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have this one here. It says, is it true that I can make dollar investments on my mutual funds account? Kindly confirm how I can do so if true. This is from DBC.
Not to my knowledge, because mutual funds here in Nigeria they're investing in securities here. So it would have to be a dollar mutual fund. So it would have to be that's how it works. So it would be specified as a dollar mutual fund. I know there are a couple companies that are doing that, where you give them dollars and then they invest it for you, and your returns also come in dollars. So the answer to that would be no. Your mutual funds here are investing primarily in Nigerian securities here.
All right.
That's all we have time for. All right. Any other questions that I'll address them tomorrow? You know how we do here. Olamide of ARM, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see what happens with the MPC tomorrow. See whether they cultivate or so on.
Tomorrow should be very interesting. Stay tuned on Smooth 98.1, 6:45 here from Monday to Friday. Rotus gives us business news from Nigeria and sometimes from around the world as well.
Well, that stuff, I'll come back and take a look. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Thank you very much.